Hello again. So now I have a set of Hornady 45 ACP, and this is the titanium nitrated coating on the sizing die, so lubrication isn't needed. You know, it's pretty common to do 10, 20, maybe as many as 100 rounds of rifle cartridges at one time, but it's pretty common to do 2, 3, 500, even 1,000 pistols at a time. And you don't really want to have to lube all of those and clean all the lube off of them. Generally they're straight wall or very slightly tapered, so they're not near as apt to get stuck inside the die as a rifle one will. So let's start with the sizing die. Same concept as on the rifle, but if you can see that gold area, that's an insert that on some brands is a piece of carbide that's precision ground. I believe this one's probably a high-speed steel with this titanium coating. So very, very hard, and you can use it for years and years and years on the brass, as long as the brass is kept clean before it goes into the tool and you're not forcing hard debris in between the brass and the tool. It deprimes it and it sizes it, and that's all this does. There's no neck sizing. Now, there are a few bottleneck pistol cartridges out there, but they're pretty rare. The next one is opens up the mouth of the brass so that the bullet can drop in fairly nicely. Those straight walls, a lot of pistol bullets don't have much. They have pretty square backside on them, so this actually will bell out the brass. And you can see this damaged piece of brass, but I hope you can see it's got a very slight bell on it. On the next step, probably at the powder, it got hung up in something and torn, so this one's a throwaway. But that bells out the brass so that you can drop the bullet in there by hand, or if you have a more automated system, into it'll get semi-pressed into the brass after the powder's been put in, of course. And then that goes to the third and final piece, and this one does multiple things. I like the Hornady seating dies because they have a drop-down multi-piece that encompasses the whole shell and the bullet. So after you've put the bullet into the brass, when this comes down or goes up, whatever way, when they approach one another, this drops over and helps center everything up. And then there's a moving die on the inside that picks up the ogive, or the rounded part of the bullet, keeps it all square and sets it to length. This particular one will also crimp the bullet into place. It's pretty rare to crimp rifle ones, except maybe for semi-automatics. But this one sets the length of it and also crimps the shell. So same thing you want to look at. For one, you don't want to buy pistol dies that are the old style that are just steel. You want to have an insert that's either coated or made out of carbide, and you want to look in there and make sure that it's not scratched. Again, these are all 7/8 thread, but you can see the thread sticking through there. But all of mine have this Hornady adapter on them, because it just goes in and it's like an 1/8 turn to lock them into place. And the advantage of that is all the lengths are set every single time, where when you remove a threaded die, you have to go through and get your adjustment for how deep the tool is set into the press to get your length set up. So kind of a nice feature. I like it, but if you find a good deal on a press that doesn't use this quick thing, it's not the end of the world. But there's a little bit of an overview. You don't usually need to use lube on pistols. You always want to lube on a rifle. And I hope that answers your questions. Hornady, Redding, RCBS, they all seem to be pretty good quality. They all have their pluses or minuses. I really like the Redding rifle dies. I don't have any other pistol dies, so I can't, but I assume they're pretty good quality. I like the Hornady, especially their bullet seating dies for a pistol. And the RCBS seems to be okay. I've never owned or used Lee's, but I've looked at them and they just look like they're just not quite the same quality as everything else. But you know, especially if it's going to be a low volume use, they may work fine. There's a couple other brands out there. There's Forester. There's a brand Wilson that's made in Washington that uses a whole different concept.